keep it going. Drum roll, please, for our second storyteller of the first round. Why, it's Bryant Ross! Give it over, Bryant Ross!
You've done it all.
I don't like horses, which is ironic because I work for the Langley Fire Department and I work heavy rescue, and I have rescued horses from ditches and septic tanks and wells and any other situation you can imagine a horse ever getting into. It was about a year and a half ago we were called out to a horse stuck in a ditch, and when I got there we parked our truck 75 yards away. There were 3 cop cars there, and I could see the horse in the ditch a ways up the driveway. And I walked up to the cop who was standing there. I said, "Where's the owner of the horse?" He said, "It's in the back of my car in handcuffs." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Go look at the horse." So I walked up the driveway. There in the ditch, I could see why the horse couldn't just get up and walk out of the hole there. The horse was skin and bone, and when I tell you it was skin and bone, I mean it. There wasn't an ounce of fat on that horse. There wasn't an ounce of muscle left on that horse. The horse had been starved beyond anything I'd ever seen in my life, and it just sat there looking at me. My crew gathered around me, and they said, "What the hell are we going to do, Cap?" And I said, "I don't know. All we can do is give the horse some comfort until the vet gets here." And so 3 big burly firefighters sat down on the edge of that ditch, and they had the horse's head in their lap, and they scratched its ears and patted it and whispered in its ear what a good horse it was. And finally the veterinarian showed up, and I didn't want to watch him poke and prod and listen and feel and do everything else to that horse he was going to do. And so I walked down the driveway to see where that horse had lived, and a ways down I saw the paddock where it had been 20 feet square, pounded into mud. There wasn't a blade of grass or a shred of food, not even water. All there was for him to drink was the rain that had gathered in the mud holes that he had pounded into that filth. The fence had fallen down. He had wandered out. He had gotten as far as he could, and now he laid there. And I walked out and I looked down and saw that veterinarian loading up the hypodermic, and I knew what I had to do right away. I ran down that driveway, and the vet looked at me and he said, "There's nothing more we can do." And I said to my crew, "Stand up!" And they stood up, and I pointed to one of them and I said, "You go to that farm across the street, bring me back a sheaf of alfalfa, fine green alfalfa, the best you can find, and you bring me back a bag of oats, sweet feed, heavy with molasses, and you bring me back 2 buckets of water, clean, pure, cool water." And I turned to the vet and I said, "And you will wait. I know we have to kill that horse today. And I know there's nothing we can do, but that horse has starved its whole time, and I will not send it to the other side with an empty belly." And by the time I finished that, my guys came back, and we laid that alfalfa in front of the horse, and we laid the oats on the ground. And the horse was too weak to hold its own head up, and so we held its head while it ate. And when it had eaten everything it could, and it couldn't cram down another mouthful, we helped it put its nose in the bucket of water, and it drank, and it drank, and it drank, until it couldn't drink anymore. And I sat down on the edge of that ditch, and it laid its head in my lap, and it looked up at me with big brown eyes that were patient and calm and trusting. And that veterinarian slipped in as slick as you please and put that needle in the vein in its neck and slid every ounce out of that hypodermic into it. And that horse laid on my lap and breathed slower and slower and slower until it just stopped. And I have been a firefighter for 28 years, longer than most of you have been alive, and I've seen probably 1,000 people die in a couple of hundred different ways, and I never shed a tear for a goddamn one of them. But I cried for that horse. And I don't like horses.
Give it up for Bryant Ross, everybody. Bryant Ross.